What's up guys, it's Raccoon back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about probably the best budget gaming PC for under around $350, and it's on the used market, so it's not brand new parts. Now it's not going to be the 100% best because the CPU I used is definitely not the best value for money, which is the i7-860. And that is clocked at 2.8 GHz with a boost of 3.5 GHz. It's a quad-core 8-threaded processor and has a 95 watt TDP, so you do need an aftermarket cooler to get any performance out of this. Also, you can overclock it to 4 GHz quite stably and it will still work surprisingly well. And it holds up surprisingly well in 2019. It is up to par, a little bit behind to the i3-8100. You can pick them up for about $80 on eBay. The graphics card that I used for this PC is the AMD 7870. I am in the future going to be upgrading to the 1050 Ti. For this video, the price will be for the 1050 Ti, not for the 7870, because the 7870 is still a bit of a bottleneck for the i7. Then for RAM, we are using 2 sticks of HyperX DDR3 RAM, and for the motherboard, we're using the Asus P7P 550LE, which supports SLI, and it is quite an old motherboard, and it has no USB 3.0, which is pretty shameful, and it supports the LGA 1156 socket, which is what we need for this. Now, I would not use this motherboard if I was going to build this. Use a cheaper motherboard. This one on eBay, they cost quite a lot. For cooling, we're using the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. It's a great cooler and it just works really well. It's not the quietest, but it definitely does well, and you can overclock with it quite well. And we're also using a 64GB SSD and a 1TB hard drive. Now for the case, we're using a Thermaltake View 27, which is quite a good case for $75, but you can find them cheaper on different websites or stores, and that's about it. So now how the PC performs. In Forza Horizon 3 at 1080p, it can keep a stable 30 FPS at low settings, but you can't go any higher than that. Now for games like Fortnite, you can have it on epic settings and it will run at a smooth 30 FPS. It can go up to 60, but it won't be that smooth. But personally, I would run it at a mix of different settings. I would do epic, view distance, and then the rest at low, and that gives a nice frame rate of about 120, something like that, so it is pretty good. Those are all the games I've tested so far on this PC, but now let's move on to something else, such as editing with this PC. Now I used this PC for editing back in the day, and this is the first PC I used for editing on this channel, and now I've upgraded to a little bit beefier processor, the i7-870, but this processor paired with the graphics card in Sony Vegas Pro, which is older software which I don't use anymore, but it did render videos pretty slow just because Sony Vegas isn't that optimized, but you could render a 3-minute video in about 10 minutes. Meanwhile, in Adobe Premiere, which is what I use now with the i7-870 at decently high settings at 1080p at 24 FPS, you can render a video that's 3 minutes long in about 3 minutes, so it's about a 1-to-1 ratio, which is not too bad. So this gaming PC is definitely not the best for the money, but it is pretty much almost the best. I would personally get the i3-8100 just because it's that added performance, it's newer, or you can do a few more things with it, but if you want a little bit cheaper, then the i7-860 is definitely still a good option. If you do find a cheap LGA 1156 motherboard, then it's definitely a good PC for the money, and you can run some decent modern titles. So that's all from me, guys. Hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, smash the like button. If you didn't, smash the dislike button, and I'll see you guys next time.